Oh, uh-oh. Hooked up. There's a Michigan special right there. You know, in the early pre-spawn anywhere, it's all about the weather. Big key that I always do is I follow all the weather apps on my phone and just look for the conditions. You know, fish in Michigan are used to cold water, but this series of cold fronts that we've had, I mean, it snowed the last 2 days quite a bit here on and off. We've got a little bit of snow on the ground. There's flakes in the air. Temperatures are in the low 30s. It's definitely going to slow the bite down. These fish are accustomed to cold water, but this is still a pretty major event for this time of year. On a windy day like this, it's hard to do anything other than wind something, but I know it's the time of the year when these fish want to move up. Got the whole kitchen sink ready to throw at them. You know, I started out with one of my favorite cold water spring baits, and that's a 325 Rage Swimmer, just fishing it on a 1/4 ounce head and just swimming it along the bottom. I mean, just barely skipping it along the bottom. And when I got that first bite, I knew that I could make it happen. Oh. I was questioning myself a little bit coming out here to begin with, but that first bite changed my attitude. Uh-oh. First thing that I touched, hooked up. Good one. Gosh, I saw those on the Mega 360 and, oh yeah, nice one. Not ideal conditions, but you got to make the most of it. Good smallmouth. I saw these on the Mega 360 before I even saw them on the Mega Live. Look, he can't even jump. So as cold as it is this morning, you know, and windy, I saw the water temperature is 40 degrees at the boat ramp. It's 42 right here. And that's it. That's cold even for here. So I just wanted to start right off with a Rage Swimmer. I know, I mean, that is one of my best cold water baits. Just a 3/8 ounce head on a Rage Swimmer. Solid 2.5 pounder right there. You know, when the bite's tough, that Rage Swimmer is a great tool to catch them, but you better know where they're at. You know, it's not that efficient to cover a lot of water. So once I got into that first little area and I got a couple of bites on that Rage Swimmer, I knew that there was fish around. That's when I want to pick up my moving baits. You know, there's so much to fishing a jerkbait about different cadences and things like that, but I can tell you when the water's in the 40s, I mean, their metabolism, you got to give them a lot of time to come up there and bite it. So, you know, I still fish it the same way. You know, it's so critical to pop it with slack in the line, especially it's designed to tilt nose down. You know, that's how it gets a lot of depth. And when you fish it real slow like this, it's easy to hit the bottom. And in a clear water lake, you know, you can get them to come a long ways, but you just got to give them a little bit of time to get to it, you know. I mean, so I'm I'm popping it a little bit, but with slack. So you start and finish with slack and then just kind of leave it sit there. And each time, man, I just watch that line. There it is. Oh God, come off. Got it. He was way up on top. I don't know what I got. Gosh, they're so cold they can't even hardly fight. I mean, when you see the red in their mouth like that, I'm glad they're biting a jerkbait though. I love catching them. If you can wind something, it's just so much more efficient than, you know, throwing that Rage Swimmer. You know, when it's real cold, they're not gonna pass it up, but that jerkbait's hard to beat as well. You know, right away I picked up my confidence bait in cold water, and that is a KVD 300 series jerkbait. A deep model and a standard model, had both of them tied on. I threw that deep one off the end of the point, first cast, caught a good one, and that right there told me everything that I needed to know. Once you can get one to bite that jerkbait, I know that I can get a lot more of them to bite. It's just a bait that they cannot help but target. You know, if you got clear water, I don't care how cold it is, they will come and bite it. You might have to pause it a little longer, but they love a jerkbait in cold water. Once you get around these fish, I mean, they're there, but they get conditioned pretty quickly. Catch a couple on a jerkbait, pick up that red-eye shad, you're gonna get another couple of bites. Or if you catch a couple on a red-eye shad, pick up the jerkbait, you're gonna get a few more bites. That, to me, is my early spring 1-2 punch. Bacon. Oh, one of my favorite all-time baits, that red-eye shad there. So that's an orange brim. Gosh, that's such a great color up here in Michigan. It imitates a crawfish and a bluegill. Look at the color of that fish. I mean, it blends in, you know, they blend in with their surroundings. They get that real, you know, brown color to them. So that red-eye shad is just, it's one of the best cold water baits. Right after ice out up here, I mean, these fish move up on the flats, and I knew there's a big point running out here. It's a little bit shallower out there. I wanted to throw out on top of it, so gosh, it's a pretty one. Got it. And I've thrown that rage swimmer all through there. Another good chunk. There's never just one smallmouth anywhere. I mean, these fish are pre-spawn. I swear I've seen a bunch of them on my Mega 360, so I haven't pointed my live back there with this wind, but I just put a deep diving KVD jerkbait on and just real slow. I mean, this water's 42 degrees. So, I mean, smallmouth are definitely more active than largemouth in conditions like this. So, you know, I'm just trying to piece it together right now, but that's 2 bites, 2 smallmouth and a pike already, so. Hey, buddy. I'll go out there and try that again. Got him. Good one. Yeah, they're never just one. I just had one follow a red-eye shad. Oh, gosh. So we're kind of on the calmer side, you know, just trying to get out of the wind, and these fish, amazingly, for this water temperature, are super shallow. So I just put on a regular 300 series jerkbait, and you know, I've got it on 14-pound line, so you know, it really only runs about 5 feet deep. I mean, I literally just had one followed. It's calm, so I just decided, yeah, I'm gonna pick that jerkbait up. They don't pass it up in cold water. One of the big things, you know, when you got tough conditions is you got to get in the right mindset. You know, you want to slow down, you really want to focus and be real persistent, make multiple casts, you know, and when you get to those high percentage areas, those points, those inside turns, really pick it apart, because once you get that first bite, there's always going to be more. Yeah, I saw that one on my, I'm like, there's one. I looked down on my live and I'm like, oh, there's a fish. And then I saw my jerkbait and he came up and got it. God, look how dark that one is. Good chunk. They're so cold they can't even hardly move. It's just fat, pre-spawn. I love this Tennessee shad colored jerkbait in these clear waters. It's got a little gold to it. These fish, they love a little gold flash to it, just visible in that green water. God, he had it. Those mustads really, they catch everything. You know, most people probably wouldn't be out here on a day like today. The reason I go is because it's the days that I have. It's just like tournament fishing. I don't get to pick my days. You know, it'd be nice if you have a little flexibility, yeah, you definitely want to go when the wind's laid down a little bit. The cold doesn't bother these fish at all. It's the wind that makes it hard to position your boat, makes it hard to feel the bites, it makes it hard to throw finesse baits, and those are things that you have to do. And this, you know, when the water's in the low 40s like this, and you know, in the 30s, you've got to be very precise with your presentation. And having a windy day like that, it makes it tough. It's not impossible, but it makes it tough. You know, I've fished all over the country, but without a doubt, my favorite is fishing here at home in Michigan. I want to be on the big water. I want to be on the Great Lakes. Everybody wants to catch 5 and 6 pound smallmouth. That's my favorite thing. These inland lakes provide just incredible good fishing, and it's a good mix. They're so diverse here. I mean, there's shallow, weedy lakes that look like Lake Okeechobee to deep, clear, rocky lakes that look just like Lake Michigan. We have everything, and it just gives you a lot of options. What I love about it is that no matter what the weather is, you can pick a lake that warms up a little quicker, or you can pick a lake that stays colder a little bit. You can find fish in whatever stage that you really want to this time of the year. Got one. Largemouth. Oh, chunk. Now look how fat he is. There's your Michigan special right there. This time of the year, you know it's cold because their mouth is real pure red like that. Gosh, I mean, they're not any prettier than right now. I mean, the fish is about 16 inches long, and he's, you know, not quite 3 pounds, but real close to it. I knew it. It feels like a good one too. No. Nice one. I saw a tree on my Mega 360 laying on the bottom, and sure enough, God, they got good color. And look at that one. He's got something hit him right there. I don't know. Maybe a cormorant or something. But I bet you there's a bunch more, so let's let him go. In the pre-spawn, man, these natural lakes, these fish are just looking for anything irregular. And when you see something like that, and I'd never know that was there. That's why, you know, I mean, you got to run that Mega 360 all the time. I'd have never known that tree was there, and it's back to back 2. So this is a lake that I've never fished before. It's not mapped on the Lake Master mapping, and it's just one of those that you have to break down. The great thing is that with good polarized glasses, as clear as the water is, you can see some of the edges and the drops, the flats and things like that on a normal day. Today with the clouds, it made it real challenging. So really my eyes today was my Mega 360 and my Mega Live. You know, I could just turn left and right and kind of see where the edge of the break is. You can see it on the Mega Live. And that's all I was trying to do, is just follow the edges of these breaks and flats and basically fish down them until I ran into the fish. There's a better one. Caught those small ones on that jerk bait. Oh yeah. That red eye is just a killer for big fish, man, in the spring. Largemouth, smallmouth. Gosh, that's a good one there. The key thing with that red eye shad that really makes this special and makes it better than any other lipless bait is the way that thing falls. But when you drop this in the water, and you can look at it right over the side of the boat, I mean, it just goes straight to the bottom with a shimmy. So when it's cold like this, What I try to do is get it down there so it's ticking the bottom. You know, I'm just fishing sand and gravel flats right here. But when I hit something, I just like to pull it and then let it fall. And then, boy, that's exactly when that one hammered it right there. I mean, it's just when it falls, that bait does that shimmy, it does that glide down, and they just can't handle it. You know, I caught a few fish on a rage swimmer to start off with, and I caught a couple of them on a deep diving jerkbait. But as soon as I saw that they were up on these flats, I knew that half-ounce red-eye shad and just a standard 300 series jerkbait. And again, I want to use colors that are natural for the forage in these lakes. You know, this orange brim color, it kind of looks like a crawfish. It's, you know, it's kind of that light tan. It's almost the same color as the smallmouth. It's a great color. You know, this Tennessee Shad Elite Series 300 jerkbait right here, it's got a little orange on the throat. It's a little shinery, it's a little perchy. It's just a good color, especially because this water had a little bit of stain to it. You can see it down 3, 4, 5 feet in this water, so it has some good flash to it. So these two baits right here just fish the zone that the fish were in really, really well. It's got them both rigged on 12-pound fluorocarbon. Just allows that bait to get down a little bit deeper. You can slow that red-eye shad down, and the key with it is just letting it fall. You know, pulling it and letting that bait fall down, and just following the edges of these flats out. Same with that jerkbait. Twitch it along 2 or 3 times, give it a long pause, twitch it again, and they'd just be on there. I mean, they weren't just running up there and smashing it, but they weren't shy about it either. So it's just, even in this cold water, these baits right here are just so efficient, and they generate bites. So this lake doesn't have a lot of thick grass in it, and we caught a mix of largemouth and smallmouth. The smallmouth were more on the main lake flats, some main lake points that had sand edges with a little bit of sand grass on it. And the largemouth were more kind of in some little inside turns or little pockets and bays where there was some vegetation, where there's a little bit of coontail, a little bit of milfoil at, and that's typical. You know, I mean, I caught a couple of them actually really, really shallow, and the water's 42 degrees. So it just goes to show you, you know, how these fish want to be up shallow. They go where the food is at. Ought to be a largemouth. Yep. Or a smallmouth. A little fat guy. A little bay like this. I mean, typically in the spring, early spring like this, or winter, you'll find these little inside turns like this, and that's where the largemouth will stack up at. Smallmouth like them too. It's a little weedier in here. Should be good. Wind's blowing right in there. God, mom took the rod away from me. Biggin. Biggest one of the day. Yeah. That's what we're looking for. Big fat guy. Gotcha. There's a good one. I mean, I missed that one, and he came right back and got it. Hopefully there's a whole bunch there. Let me get the spot lock. Yeah, there's a reason they're there. Or when it's cold. Gosh, chunk. I mean, it's cold, 42 degrees, and he's up here in the mouth of a canal. They're gonna eventually spawn right there. Good solid one right there. Old red-eye shad. Best bait ever for covering shallow flats. There's a good one. Just got that last hook. Man, it's been a struggle today, but we have caught a pretty good many fish and some pretty nice ones. I mean, that's a solid one right there. You know, as cold as the water is, you don't get to pick your days. You know, we had this shoot scheduled for a long time. We've had snow. It's been spent in snow all day, 42-degree water. Man, that red-eye shad and a jerkbait, even in these conditions, you can make it happen. I mean, these fish, they want to be up for spring, but it's just so early based on the weather Mother Nature's been throwing us. But you can still make them wreck. I mean, it's gotten pretty dang windy and we still made it happen. Good day. Today was a day that went out here. I knew it was gonna be tough to start with, but you know, we started catching fish, ended up catching a good number of smallmouth and largemouth, caught some pretty nice fish. Didn't catch any real giants, but caught some really solid fish. And what I love about this cold water fishing is when you hook one, man, they just don't move. I mean, they can't even really jump, but they're so aggressive. Even in this cold water, they'll still attack a moving bait. They'll still hit that jerkbait pretty good. They'll still suck that red-eye shad in, and it's just a lot of fun. These fish aren't pressured yet. They're not where you really have to work hard to get a bite, you know, with a lot of people around or anything like that. There's just nobody else out on the water early in the year like this. It just makes for a fun day on the water.
Next time on Pro Team Journal.
Where are we at? We're in low country, South Carolina. Sounds like a broken record. It seems like this is where I film all of my PTJs. I just learned that, short for Pro Team Journals. Low country, South Carolina is my favorite place in the world. I mean, I just love it down here. Man, it's gonna be a fun day. Got my John boat again. Last time it was all about the buzz bait. This time, it's old school fishing. It's spinner bait, it's jig, maybe a little buzz bait, frog, but one thing's gonna be in common is the loose, skipping, pitching reel. Opens up a whole new world of possibilities on what you can do with that reel, and we about to have some fun.